Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video. I hope you guys are doing really wonderful. And so in this update, we will be taking a look at what is currently going on across the North Atlantic. There's lots of rainfall for some spots, and we also have a disturbance marked out there. And so we will be taking a look at all of that and the potential of seeing that disturbance develop. That will be the main treat of this video, but we'll also be zooming in to what is going on across the Caribbean. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so, and tap the bell so that you never miss an important update. Alright, and so as we take a look at the vicinity of the Bahamas, Florida, Cuba, here we can see that there is so many thunderstorms, a lot of activity in this area here, and that is being induced by a trough. So this is likely going to be continuing for some time, and where there is a lot of heavy rainfall, there is that risk of flooding. And so guys, I implore you to all take necessary precautions and stay safe when required for you to do so. But as we head to the Turks and Caicos Islands, there is also a bit of activity for some other areas in the Bahamas. The weather might be changing constantly and not just constant with one particular condition. It might be cloudy, it might be rainy, and then the sun comes back out, then the conditions continue to change. That's kind of what we're seeing happening here across Western Cuba. We're seeing lots of activity developing in the latest frames here, and also over into parts of the Yucatan Peninsula. We're going to be heading further into the Caribbean now, and so in the vicinity of Jamaica, there's a bit of activity developing across some southwestern parishes. Not much, but it has been a pretty hot and sunny day for most of us for the most part. As I said earlier, there is going to likely that rainfall increase is likely, and there is that tropical wave. All of that activity is in association with that wave that brought a lot of heavy rainfall to the Lesser Antilles yesterday and Monday. And so here we are seeing that all this shower and thunderstorm activity is quite persistent, even extending as far as down to Venezuela, going to Trinidad, and even near the ABC Islands. But there isn't a whole lot happening for the ABC Islands right now. But this will continue to the west, and thus will kick up the chance of seeing rainfall activity across the island as we're going to be heading into tomorrow. Let's take a look at what the models have to show the GFS and Euro, and this goes out to tomorrow afternoon at around 4 p.m. local time here in Jamaica. And we're seeing that the map is very colorful for especially those eastern parishes, and so GFS is expecting that some of those higher rainfall totals could be in parts of St. Thomas and Portland, and other sections of the island, especially go into the western parishes, could also experience some substantial rainfall. Euro is actually showing a lot more rain for the island, so hopefully this actually happens because it has been very hot and dry for some of us. However, in the event of a lot of heavy rainfall, there is going to be that chance of flooding, and so guys, please do not take any unnecessary risks should there be any flooding in your area. But heading into tomorrow, it is likely that there is going to be some rainfall activity across the island as a result of the passage of that tropical wave. And in the southwestern Caribbean, we also see that there is some activity in the southeastern part of Nicaragua, going to Costa Rica and Panama, as well as go down to northern South America, and lots of activity developing this afternoon as was forecast in the update I did this morning. Okay guys, and so now we want to go ahead and move on to the disturbance that we could possibly see develop into a tropical cyclone. Some models are hinting at this becoming a tropical storm, maybe even stronger. And so as of right now, looking at the latest from the National Hurricane Center, there is a 30% chance still designated to the system, which means that the chance is constant. And notice this arrow, so this points to that shaded yellow region where we could see it getting itself together. So as we head to the end of this week, going into early next week, we could see this try to become something again. The next name for this season is Emily, and just to make reference to the last time this list was used, Emily developed on the 30th of July. So let us see if this disturbance here will manage to become Emily maybe before that, but that won't necessarily determine what will happen for the rest of the hurricane season. We just have to take it one day, 1 week, 1 month at a time. And of course guys, I'm here to keep you posted. So now going on to the ensemble members here, starting out with Euro members, and here we can see that they're taking the system out into the Atlantic, the open waters not being a problem for anyone. We even see that new cluster, another tropical wave going to be emerging. Maybe that one could try to become something, but again, conditions aren't highly conducive, and we will be looking at them very shortly. And there's that next cluster over there. And if you're curious, previously known 95L, that tropical wave currently moving across the Caribbean, that could make its way into the Eastern Pacific. And if conditions are conducive enough, then it could develop over in that ocean basin, but not a concern for the Atlantic. Going on to the GFS members, we see that some of them want to take the system a bit closer to the Caribbean, but overall they are agreed on that west-northwestward to northwestward track, and most of the members showing that, hey, this is not going to be entering the region, because surely we wouldn't want a strong system entering and resulting in widespread devastation, because tropical storms are capable of doing just that. And so in terms of the conditions out there, we're starting out with the dry air map. So going on to it now, here we can see that there's lots of dry air and dust ahead of that tropical wave, and that is going to be one of the main inhibiting factors, and that is why imminent development is not anticipated. So as it makes its way toward the west-northwest and encounter more conducive conditions, it could take advantage of them and try to get itself together, but only time will tell what's going to be happening with regards to that. And things are very warm out there. Going on to the sea surface temperature map, here we're seeing that we see 27, 28, 29, 30 degrees Celsius across some spots. It gets warmer as we head closer to the Caribbean and surrounding areas, and typically tropical cyclones require at least 26, so temperatures are well on their way for development of this. It's going to be other environmental conditions such as that wind shear, and of course, as I said, that dry air that helps to prevent any significant development of it. But we will need to keep our eyes more on the tropics as we head into August. This map here depicts the typical tracks of cyclones in August, and so we see that systems typically make their way from Africa. These tropical waves, they may encounter conducive conditions and move across the Caribbean or just north of the region and develop into tropical cyclones, some of which manage to become hurricanes. And so things are going to get active in the coming weeks, and we certainly have to keep our eyes out there, because this hurricane season is definitely not one to play around with. And all forecasts, especially the recent forecasts, are calling for a lot of activity. I mean, the Weather Channel was expected that we could see 20 named storms, 10 hurricanes, and 5 major hurricanes. That is quite concerning. 20 named storms, and as of now we are 4 named storms in. We could see Emily from the disturbance maybe next week. And so even though we're seeing these numbers here, which are quite alarming, it will all be whether these systems actually develop and are threats to land, because they can develop out there and not actually bother anyone, but on the contrary, it only takes one major cyclone to be a problem. And guys, of course, I'm here to keep you posted on all that is happening and what is expected. So as I said, let's take it one day, 1 week, 1 month at a time as the hurricane season progresses. And so that is what I wanted to share with you in this update, and I hope you found it to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I will respond as best and as soon as I can. And as always, remember to be weatherwise.